Where are we? I think a more appropriate question would be, when are we? Look at Professor Time standing on that yellow disco ball with all those melting clocks in the background, and alarm clocks, and God knows what else. We are in the year question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. And as for whether it's AD or BC, that is also question mark, question mark. Yes, folks, we are in a place which is completely outside of the space-time continuum, and apparently it's full of snails with helicopters on them that frickin' kill you. But yeah, we somehow have landed in a world which is outside of everything else, and it's a really weird place. There's playing cards and pinball flippers, flying snails, and living chess pieces that are really quite annoying. And remember, way back in the first video, how I said that this Professor Time is very similar to Dr. Wily in many ways besides the obvious way of his appearance. Well, we already saw how at the end of every level he begs for forgiveness only to get away. Well, by the end of this video we're going to see yet another similarity between the two of them. And it's going to be a really obvious one. One that makes it seem like, okay, this guy is clearly a ripoff. Maybe an homage. Maybe an homage? I don't know. I guess that's for other people to decide. Not me. I say he's at least a ripoff in appearance and mannerisms, but not in what he does. I mean, I don't think Dr. Wily ever did anything with time travel. And Professor Time doesn't seem to do anything with inventing robots. I mean, besides traveling through time, he supposedly controls the various villains in each stage. But did he create them? I don't know. He might have created this world, though. It's really a messed up place. Although it's definitely not the strangest level I've ever seen in an otherwise normal-ish platformer for the NES. That award would have to go to the world Topsy-Turvy from Little Nemo, the Dream Master. That was a strange world. Because it was everything was upside down. I mean, gravity pulled normally and you ran and jumped normally. But the way the level looked, it looked and acted as if you were on the bottom of everything. So the level had a ceiling and a bottomless pit at the bottom, which was just confusing. Here we are at the final quiz. Now every time I've done this, the quiz question has always been the same. It's always, what's your girlfriend's name? Oh, no. Okay. This is the only time I've ever seen it different. But yeah, the future year was 2010. The not-so-distant future. Now, even back when this was made, that was the not-terribly-distant future. Not even as far forward as Back to the Future. And it was made in a later year than that, too. And yet it acted more futuristic. So, video game logic, ladies and gentlemen, video game logic. And now, yes, we are in a level which is really quite delicious. I'm freaking hilarious, I know. But yes, this level is a giant cake. We are playing on top of a giant cake, floating in a sea of frosting. And of course this giant cake is complete with flaming birthday candles. Death Day candles, more like. Am I right? And complete with gingerbread houses. And what giant cake would be complete without living chess pieces and snails with propellers on their backs? And barrels that I used to think self-replicated, but in actuality they were just barely on the border of the screen, so every time I moved just like a bit to the left they were respawning, because the enemies in this game do respawn should you scroll them off the screen. But of course there's very little reason to ever scroll to the left in this game, except for in a couple of places where there are certain jumps that you can't make. And here we are, folks, the final level. Looks like it's going to be Clock Town, if the useless map is correct. And yes, we are in Salvador Dali's Nightmare. The further we get in this level, the more melty the clocks will start to look, if memory serves. And yes, this is another level with big bottomless pits and lots of jumping from platform to platform. But in my opinion, it's not nearly as difficult as the one in the future world because there aren't those annoying sparks everywhere. Ooh, look at all those barrels. Evil barrels. Barrels full of cancer. You don't want to open that. Whew! Professor Time Smoke. Don't breathe this. Well, the clocks aren't getting melty, but they've lost a hand already, some of them. At the beginning, they had 3 hands, which I guess is okay. Hour, minute, second. Oh, no, these clocks are just crazy. That's it. These clocks are just fucked up. I was wrong. They don't get melty. I don't know what I was thinking of. And, well, here we go. The final boss. We fight Professor Time himself. And look, he's in a little spaceship. Just like when you fight Dr. Wily. Just like when he flies around. And, of course, usually you fight him in a little spaceship which is inside a giant robot. And you only see him in the little spaceship. Oh, and that question mark. If you hit that question mark, you start moving backwards until it's gone off the screen. Which is not fun. Since immediately after shooting it, he usually will come down to the ground for a closer look at you. And you'll probably walk right into him. Another thing that he can shoot out, besides the question mark, is a pair of exclamation points. And if you hit those, your movement speed and jumping height are both cut in half until the exclamation points are gone from the screen, which really sucks. But yeah, this boss really isn't too hard for being a final boss. See, that's another thing the exclamation points can do. They can make you jump forever. But that's a more rare effect. It's a more rare effect, but it's a deadlier one because you have to get the hell away from him. Because he likes to fly over your head when you're jumping like that, uncontrollably. Tasha's uncontrollable, hideous jumping. Just wait for that question mark to go by, because I really don't want to reverse my controls. And he's dead! Yay! What? I mean, we have to fight a second form of him? And there's stars in the background? Dr. Wily called. He wants his method of playback. Yes, Dr. Wily called. He wants his boss form back. And I did not know it, but I guess apparently you cannot jump on his head. That thing I said about you can jump on most enemies' heads, including bosses, well, I guess it doesn't apply to Professor Time. But yeah, in this final form, he jumps around for a while the numbers on his little spaceship change. Then they settle on something, and once they settle on something, he'll start flying around and dumping crap on you from that year. Now, the enemies don't behave the way they did. They basically just fall down, and you can knock them out, but I prefer to just avoid them. So you see, 1632, that was the ninja level, so he's dropping Dharma on us. And those little midgets with spikes, who I kept making fun of. I don't know what the hell was with me. Whoa, look at that! What the hell?! Did you see that? Oh my god! I got like 1,000,000 hits on him. Of course, I immediately took a hit myself. That was still pretty freaking cool. So yeah, 2010 was the future level, so we'll drop rockets on us. And that's it! Really not too bad. I would have beaten that boss without taking a single hit, were it not for the fact that I tried to jump on his head, and were it not for that weird thing where it kept bouncing off him and doing damage to him. That just shocked me. I didn't know what to do. So anyway, yay, we got Haruka back. Life is good. They're happy. They're dancing. They're having a good time. It's so sweet. But unlike Dr. Wily, he's not, like, begging right now first, and then we can put him in jail or whatever. He's gone. As far as we know, he's dead. He went flying off into space and blew up. Aw, ain't that sweet. And here's the rope, and they're gonna go up it together. He should have made her go up first, so he could have looked up her skirt. LOLOL. Oh, he's such a kinky, horny little 10-year-old. And that's about it for this game. The credits are all fucked up. And I think that must have something to do with the translation issues, because they had to, like, take the Japanese characters and redo them into English characters. So yeah, oh well. And now our hero and his damsel no longer in distress are flying away on what I originally thought was a bunch of Pikachu balloons, but I actually think it's a bunch of birds, because it looks like they have flapping wings. Actually, if you look really close, it looks like they might be chickens. But anyway, yeah, I kind of like this end-of-game music. I really like all the music in this game. Which is why something that shall go unmentioned. But anyway, yeah, so Apparently, I was looking when I was looking up to make sure nobody had already LP'd this game. I discovered that, first of all, this game in general, and second of all, the company that made this game are both really well known for having excellent music on the Famicom. And, you know, I agree with them. It's definitely not the best music I've ever heard in an NES game. It does get kind of repetitive, especially since each map screen has the same music. But, in general, I really found the music to be enjoyable. So I'm glad that I was able to come across a piece of software called Virtual Audio Cable, which allows me to record the sound from the stereo mix and record the microphone at the same time. Normally I couldn't do that because I have a USB microphone whose driver is separate from my normal sound driver, and Cam Studio will only record from one sound source at a time, so Virtual Audio Cable routes the microphone into the stereo out, makes them look like one thing. Well, anyway, that's the end of this LP. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is Doc Sigma signing off. Later. Bye-bye.